Here's a question for you. How committed are you to the idea of green energy? The idea that somehow you can take a battery and run a car off a battery to get your power to go where you're going. You do understand where the energy comes from, right? I mean, this is something that people just don't seem to get anymore. This idea that somehow, well, why don't we just plug the cars in? Well, where do you think the electricity comes from that charges the car? You don't understand, do you? See, generally, either you're going to burn coal to make power, or you're going to burn natural gas. You're going to burn something, generally speaking, to get the power necessary to spin the turbines and generate electricity. Now, in some cases, we do have dams that generate electricity through the spinning of turbines, but dams have their own problems. I mean, have you thought about all of the fish whose habitat is disrupted? How about all of the other animals whose homes are destroyed by building a dam? This is actually a big issue here in Alaska because we've been trying to get some dams built for literally over 50 years that they haven't been able to agree on the location of, because every time they talk about putting one in, somebody else says, yeah, well, what about the salmon that live in that stream? Oh, no, you can't go to that one. That stream has grayling in it. Grayling, by the way, is a very delicious fish, but here in Fairbanks, they've been overfished to a point now where it's only catch and release. You're not allowed to eat them. It's a side note. Point is, there's always somebody pointing out these unintended consequences for building a dam somewhere. It's the same thing for any of these other energy issues. You're either going to burn coal to make the power, or you're going to burn some kind of fuel, whether it's diesel or biodiesel or gasoline. You're going to burn something to make the energy. It doesn't just come out of nowhere. And now you've got these electric cars where even the batteries themselves, where do you get the cobalt to put in these fancy electric cars? I'll tell you where you get them. You get them out of mines deep in Africa where children as young as the age of 4 are being forced to work in the mines. Now, this is not just some spurious claim. This is actually an investigation that was done, and the BBC ran a story about it. That was over the weekend. You can actually check it out if you go to bbc.com, or if you just do a simple Google or Bing search about child miners, M-I-N-E-R-S. And you'll find out that this is going on right now. Now, this is not the only place in the world where children are being forced into heavy, hard labor like that. But would you want your own children forced into labor so that somebody else can enjoy an electric car? How badly do you want this thing? I guess I just want people to think about where stuff comes from, because nothing comes from nothing. Either somebody is putting in labor, or whether we're talking about actual, like, digging up out of the ground or chopping down a tree or making a fire. Somebody is doing something to create the energy or the product or whatever it is that you're consuming. And either you're going to be giving that person something in exchange for what they're doing voluntarily, or you're going to be having somebody else take it from them by force. In these cases of child minors, I don't think any of them are there voluntarily. From what I understand, looking at this report and watching the BBC article about it, it appears as if these children are basically slaves. Is your electric car worth that? Send me an email. Tell me what you think. Steve@radiofreespeech.com.